It's nay.
Oh, record it? Yeah, it's fine.
Okay.
Whenever you guys are. We must first determine our subjective experience before looking to other moral questions. Doing so requires phenomenal introspection. Babu 1, phenomenal introspection tells pleasure good, displeasure bad, surprise, belief in one's subjective experience, turning what it's like and only generates belief in problems related to one's subjective experience, nevertheless reliable. Phenomenal introspection is not reliable. Skepticism and phenomenal introspection is based on determining subjective experience, logical belief, hedonistic moral systems. Babu 2, we can judge sound visual experience, color, and learning to the yellow experience, we judge they are bright, we consider pleasure intrinsically good. And when I experience pain, things are worse. Someone under torture says they're even good, the bad, torture will see the good, it's beating. Pleasure is our subjective experience is a certain good feeling in common, and we can reason others like the same things we do, same colors we do, and have similar experience to us, even if it's not identical, they share the same sense of positivity that we can think for others. So Babu 3, I can't fondly respect other people, but I fondly respect, in the pleasant moment I consider that the experience, having a good experience, I should believe the pleasure experience myself, the other good as well, and to do otherwise we need some phenomenal states. And phenomenal introspection is the alternative to conceptual analysis, which pretty much rooted in. So Babu 4, conceptual analysis provides more beliefs or more subjective conceptual analysis provides knowledge and build more theories, not tell us anything good or bad, right? Beginning with knowledge, voice, skepticism, unethical, principal force, give up moral beliefs, and use of policy making paradigm is the only way to uphold democratic ideals, justice, assist marginalized groups. Politics and abuse, education, ministers of education play a political role in developing educational policy. They define debate, racial minorities, contextualization of issues, discussion, power relations, and being able to introduce progressive ideals and share effective implementations, problematic and contested demand of political educational realm. This system functions social justice, progressive change for democracy until conditions favor that change. Capital lures of enormous legislative tools and structural organizations to help influence people. 3 implications. A point, the role of judge and policy making day-to-day, playing a critical role and affects the real world. B point, policy makes the most exceptions on kind of resolution is just makes question politics, and therefore policy making. C point is heat education about our war runs, war functions, political education realm, the education terminal impact, debate, learning from today's debate, valuable, school funding for prefer education standards on a theoretical level. And the standards maximizing utility. Part 2 is the plan types. The United States federal government will implement a soft opt-out policy of presumed consent. Part 3 are the advantages. Advantage 1 is organ shortages. U.S. supply of organs alone is insufficient to meet rising demand of bone. The demand for organ transplantation is rising rapidly. One patient has a waiting list every 15 minutes. More than 95,000 patients are on a waiting list. The consequence, the majority of patients are deprived of new life. And the most comprehensive study shows robust increase in donation. Abby and Gay 06. We 05. We have to determine category coordination or account for coefficient presumed consent variables. The largest results show that determines donation rates account for presumed consent. 25 to 30% higher donation rates than in 4% countries. And my evidence is 10-year study to check go-finding variables and generating causal link. Abby and Gay 2. This article 20 countries 13 year analysis impact presumed consent loss donation rates after controlling determines we don't have presumed consent. We have higher donation rates than structural databases to reject hypothesis on mission determines donation rates to final results. And international study proves the presumed consent drastically increases in organ donation rates in NATO and all 07. A sample of 37 countries over 5 years analyzed the results that were properly clarified that presumed consent is positive 21-26% category coordination related to consent countries. It also confirmed my studies is completely different experience to get the same results. Statistical data replicable key to avoiding social bias and potential experimental error. The odds of being wrong and reaching the same exact conclusion are really low. Even the burden proof their studies are replicated and verified otherwise. Otherwise confirm my study. Also, the largest study in terms of scope and length confirms the soft presumed consent specifically increased donation rates. Big goal 12. The data cover 28 countries based on countries decision donation rate legislative defaults consensual practices. In order to correctly identify the impact of presumed consent on decision donation rates include family consent and registry variables. Countries in which a hard presumed consent was enacted is 90% higher increase in donation compared to informed consent countries. In contrast, both those countries maintain the OECD family consent and the impact of presumed consent on decision rates is substantially higher, around 75% on average. And advantage 2 is black markets. A point is the uniqueness. A dearth in cadaver work police assessment, systematic suffering, increase in organ trafficking. Organ trafficking is new. Exploit vulnerable position for turn the bodies and profit. Armaments in 13. Organ trafficking is growing international public trafficking, recruitment, transportation, transfer, bring recipient of organs, persons being used for force, exploitation, the removal of organs, discussion phenomenon, the trafficking of human beings, removal of human organs, bodies sold for commercial gain. The demand for organs is shortage acute. In 1993, kidney donations increased by 33% in the U.S. Waiting on transplant increased to 236%. And shortage in cadaver organs led to many need to obtain a one from a live donor. Organs were supplied by desperate poor countries to more affluent ones. B point is the impact of this unequal resource distribution is classes in lieu. Terms of classes positions imply more or less higher and lower inequality. Stratification continues to be a consequence. Class of inequality in individuals within spheres of life where benefits perpetuating inequality. Social class and socioeconomic therefore hierarchy only exists in present class system. And a class reduces everything. Market structure negates the body life, makes distinction, genocide, all forms of oppression, network, Cobell. The recognition, nation, force, past, intrinsic value of the bounces, respect to one contribution value, in terms of dominated labor, quantification, value, loss, and differentiation, recognition system, ecosystem, ladder, from ladder herself that came against water, capital, receive, relations, the isolated cells, and the capital's order, reverse, the personification, has the role to respond, the dollar exposed itself to the elements of experience, because all money is all accounts, gold instructions, sacrifice, whole species of content, or inconvenient substance population, and the present value streams of the fellow, feeling the compassion, replacing with the calculus of profit expansion, never the Holocaust been carried out so impersonally. C point is solvency. Increase donation, presumed consent, and diminishes the black market, solves the organ trafficking, which kills human rights. Later, 5. The article has presumed consent laws, best practice, increase organ supply. The approximately between nation, automatic presumed consent law for donations. The laws tend to produce surplus of organs and anti-illicit trade of organs. The countries presumed consent laws have a higher premium for organs than demand. Organs are met legally than people with less incentive to illegally obtain organs. Illegal markets would eventually diminish. Advantage 3 is xenotransplantation. Xenotransplantation is on the rise now. New scientific breakthrough to prove Schaefer. age 21. 3,000 people in the United States are on waiting lists for heart transplant. Dr. Moody thinks xeno could provide its viable solution. Instead, let Moody pickles for genetically engineered to grow hearts later transplanted baboons. Potential for paving way for animal organ transplantation into humans and organ source for rebuttals. Xenotransplantation presumed consent laws. Lions in 97. The companies are claiming the company's paperwork only waiting waiting lists for reasons xeno in the first place. However, there's a huge company for the supply of human organs presumed consent employed in discussing Belgium presumed consent doubled. Transplants. Xenotransplantation independently causes extinction. New virus to be created and spill over. Somerville 10. Xenotransplantation creates a real possibility of wiping out the human race and transplant from animal to human powerful rejection curve. Overcome the science of modulated the genome manipulated the genes, trigger recipients' immune system overcomes reaction poses a risk of the whole recipient sexual partner family as a whole. There's certain race eminent science, other concerns include big versus much reduces new populations, humans, viral DNA, combining the viral DNA, human genome, totally new virus. Humans can develop serious illnesses, picture immune to. In this case, is the case with HIV in some primates. That's affirms the X.
Do you hear me? Yes. So let's talk about the framework.
Sure.
So you say that the way we understand the world is towards subjective experiences, correct?
Sure.
And pain and pleasure are universally bad.
Yep.
Okay. So even if it's true that pain is universally bad, pleasure is universally good, what qualifies as that pain and pleasure is inherently different for each individual, correct?
So no, that argument is not like that's the opposite of that is what I made.
Okay. So why is that? Why is my pain the same as everyone's pain?
It's not that your pain is the same as everyone's pain. It's that we can phenomenally introspect that other people feel similar pain or similar pain or similar pleasure based on our past experiences.
For example, I like to play chess a lot, and I get a lot of pleasure from that. A lot of people get bored by the same thing. So what qualifies as my pain, pleasure is not necessarily the same thing as what qualifies as other people's pain.
I mean, I don't think that's really relevant to because I like chess too. So.
Okay, but for other people,
yeah. So in that point,
universalize our own experiences to apply to everyone.
So the argument is that we have to universalize it. It's that whenever we would reason that something causes pain, we would reason that this causes pain. Thus, it's probably bad. This specifically I asked.
Are you saying that everyone's pain is the exact same?
Dead.
Are you saying that everyone's pain is the exact same?
I'm not saying that everyone's pain is the exact same, but if we can reason that a certain action would cause pain, then it's probably bad.
Okay, so you admit though that what qualifies as pain for people can be different from person to person.
The argument is that sure there's gonna be slight differences, but if we can significantly reason that something is painful, i.e. extinction is probably
somewhat bad. What if I'm better able to be consistent with the overall aggregate of everyone's individual different conceptions of pain and pleasure?
What does that mean?
As in, if I'm able to provide for if my pain is different from your pain, and I'm able to, in my framework is able to aggregate everyone's different conceptions of pain and pleasure, would it be better able to meet your framework?
The argument isn't like that.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. Let's talk about the black market evidence.
Sure.
Sorry, the illegal market evidence.
Sure.
So the Anito et al. Evidence, does it ever say, or sorry, not Anito, the first card that you read out in the second advantage, does it ever say that the people engage in the trade unwillingly, or do they do so willingly?
Sure. It says that people are coerced into the trade, which indicates.
Can you read that line?
Yeah, sure. The argument that's the it says the trade itself is oppressive. Sorry, that's different.
Right. So do people engage in that trade willingly or unwillingly?
I think that the argument doesn't matter. I think the impact framing of this would indicate that even if they.
My question is whether they engage willingly or unwillingly.
This says that they probably even if they engage willingly.
So it is willingly.
No, it says okay. So hold on. If they engage willingly, that doesn't matter.
I don't get the implication of whether it's willing or unwilling. Is it willing or unwilling?
You can make the argument that it's willing, and I'm going to explain.
And why do you think that they do engage in the trade? Why do they engage in the trade?
That's the last line of the card because they have a lack of money and they're being paid for.
So what is the alternative to engaging in the trade? They just keep being poor, or they can't provide for families.
Sure. So the argument here is that whenever this specific system that occurs is a classist system, the alternative to engaging in the trade would be that trade would diminish because we have enough workers
to not have that trade. Classism go away?
Because this classist lens, this is their escape from their lack of ability in the world. They sell their organs. If that market diminishes, if people don't want to buy illegal organs anymore, this is just diminishing the classist lens. It's not that they can't escape their poverty.
How are you not reinforcing classism by preventing them from being able to escape their socioeconomic?
It's not preventing them from escaping their socioeconomic standing. It's preventing them from ruining themselves and hurting their bodies.
have any theoretical spikes in the AC, which can extend to theory in my
No. How does like theory get to 1 hour?
Wait, it sounds like there's something. So
There's like justifications for the framework.
that you can extend as reasons for the standard.
Yeah.
Theoretically. That's fine. Do you ever something like the United States is a just society?
I indicate my argument is that it would make them just.
But they are not just now.
For society to be just, they should presume consent.
Okay, but they're not just now.
That's my framing of the resolution. I think that argument would be.
Are they just now? Yes or no?
That's not my argument.
I'm
So if
asking
they're
you a
if, like,
question.
I would say that like sure they're just now like fine.
Do you explain why that's true in the AC?
Like that's a different framing. Like,
Yes.
there's a different argument there.
Do you read only the highlighted parts?
Mm-hmm.
Is xenotransplantation not a form of consumer consent?
No. Xenotransplantation is something that happens because of a lack of organs.
I can flash it over.
Okay.
218 meters or 218 miles?
Left. The order is coming in.
What is it?
It's going define that. Yeah, you can do it. You ready?
Yeah.
The order is one, NC one on this. And again, presume that one thing is also have to prove actually prove lack of obfuscation and mistakes is one thing to be false and true for any subject theory or correct description of other false opinion last year is A. No presumption is clear to put all compositions B. Presumption over competition to choose around the other direction B. After using head, I value morality, after the value term odd. Which is trying to do express duty and obligation. Reverse. Overarching status cannot exist because objective morality are based on subjective mind, like subjective understanding to trick and input them, attempt to practice to state of problem, fail, understanding, vision, shape, others. This means that the only method by which we value is to be consensus of others, forcing reality that is mere subjective constructive cost-wise analysis on the topic AC sparse, he's leading to objective conception of these alternatives to be aggregate inherently subjective qualities which pay influence the way objectively do that. So, consensus controls morality. Participants in discourse implicitly concede an authority holds. The real is not conceived in of a cause, but rather consensus will necessarily constitute the quality of the real to be meaningfully positive action both in the long run. So, believe each perspective is necessarily true and other statement. Consensus has the status of an undeniable transcendental pragmatic presupposition is undeniable abuse, type discursive discourse already presuppose it. They are presuppositions for serious recognition that we cannot deny without being involved in employment. Employment is self-contradiction, therefore the society has most consistent with morality, one that is most consistent with popular consensus. So the standard is consistency with the popular consensus. Also the AC Burton breaks down in microeconomics, part of the great scope, the great number of people can be determined by the great number of people themselves. For example, if everyone when they woke from the world decided they wanted to die, something less will no longer be a coherent standard. So on to the offense. The majority of the population is against presumed consent. Mosh states all 12. 94% of the population heard about organ transplantation, only 7% support of the possible presumed consent, while the public is supportive of organ transplantation is not openly enthusiastic about organ donation for the evidence. 1. Longitudinal accuracy. The conclusion is consistent with 6 months of empirical research. 2. Lack of bias and quality. The sampling can be ignored to ensure a fair distribution across individuals living without knowledge of the medical field. 3. Accuracy. Social questions and detail show that the conclusion is data is significant. 4. Global coverage. The study excludes data from populations in eastern regions of the world which generally excluded from presumed consent polls. And multiple surveys indicate that presumed consent is highly unpopular. Moreover, analysis indicates that ideologies pushing people against the policy are sufficiently distributed more backlash in every society than it's at all. It is unadvisable to pursue a policy of presumed consent. Public opinion polls suggest some popularity. Recent NKF survey found support of approximately 37%. Gallup survey takes up public support at 7%. The increase in perspective is sufficiently distributed in the general population. May problematic exemptions of presumed consent second mechanisms which employ presumed consent. Convincing the quality of consent likely to be pursued with real practical challenge in meeting the individual preferences of donation candidates for donation. And preferred evidence is 1. Scope. The article analyzing the purpose of surveys and thereby construct more accurate conclusions. 2. Representation and sampling method implementing ensures full coverage across race, socioeconomic, gender, statistical analysis of 100 individual contacted, and the conclusion is a low margin of error about what can be active extrapolated to the other side. It's also not going to go. I'm not going to read it all. Don't worry about that. Also, this part takes out absolute the organs for presumed consent or failing incompatibility with recipients. Also, presumed consent is unpopular even among organ donors. Standard 2015. There are many people who strongly oppose Law 39 and 41 people who registered as organ donors said that they removed the consent if presumed consent was passed. There's no way to get the problem to use more organs under presumed consent or organ donation or organ seizure. Did I have to flash people?
Yeah.
Sorry. Organ seizure. And it's because the act is established that presumed consent will actually decrease overall donations. On the act. So start at the top of the app, also about over 1, even if it's pain and pleasure, universally good or bad, it's unclear how to quantify what pain and pleasure is for each individual. For example, I get a lot of pleasure from playing chess, but not everyone gets the same amount of pleasure from playing chess. For example, some people enjoy having physical pain inflicted upon them, but not everyone does. There's no way to be able to actively enhance subjective qualities to an objective way of quality. The best way to determine the overall beauty of the fact is taking into account each individual person's individual preferences is what they determine what they believe is to be pain and pleasure. Also, after saying about the 3 evidence, there's no way to universalize experience like that argument cross that argument. Saying about before, I don't buy that, I don't appeal to any conception of objective truth. I simply say we should subjectively construct morality. Then off the car study talks about how policy making is reasoning for a standard. I think better the ultimate goal is to uphold democratic ideals. The polls have strongly linked to the fact that I appeal to democratic procedures and also I solely interlink the role of that by using democracy. He says that policy making is important because of how we interact with any democratic sphere. Also, on the point of view of contextuality, the resolution question is what a just society ought to do with which is a reference to the hypothetical world. It means that real world plan applications are not textual. Also, he says that he doesn't actually anywhere in the AC say that the U.S. is actually a just society. Means that if you look to textuality, that's just a reason to drop them on T on the C point. He says that policy making is key to understanding the world around us, but better most of us won't become policy makers. But all of us have to vote on policy. That means that policy is a better framework for the ground because it helps us to understand how we relate to policies as they are applied in the real world because we have to vote on it. And also, off the first advantage of the body and gay evidence, my evidence is better comes from the conclusion. Actually, I have the conclusion of the body and gay study concludes the opposite way that he says. So I'm going to read that. Part. A meta-analysis of 36 countries for 10 years showed that presumed consent has no positive impact on organ donation rates. A body itself 2005. Presumed consent countries do not produce higher organ donation rates. All consent of homicide is lack of correlation may be explained by the fact that presumed consent is really important practice. Familial consent is always required before organs are extracted. This is coming from the conclusion of the article means that it's going to be more representative of what a body and gay studies actually concluded to. Then on the negative evidence 1, this is international studies does not necessarily apply to the United States. Often second advantage of the erroneous evidence. The evidence characterizes the socioeconomically disadvantaged and bad way assumes that they are irrational agents that do not know better than to engage in the trade. I would say otherwise. Selling organs of the black market is essential for those in poverty to combat their socioeconomic status. Presumed consent exacerbates the conditions of the impoverished. He in 2005. Poverty oppresses the inhabitants of third world countries, resulting in young men and women who swallow body parts to stable the ultimate liberty. The donor sells his kidney for $2,000 to $3,000, $250,000 for transplant, despite illegality or trafficking recipients of poverty or potential donors with better quality organs harvested from live donors. This also turns the fact that organs from that market are going to be of higher quality than the fact they come from live donors. Then also the real evidence talks about the classical wellness and non-unique classism is always going to exist. There's no reason why he uniquely solves backward classism. Second, I would say that he re-entrenches classism by preventing people from escaping their socioeconomic status by selling their organs on the market. Also, the Glaser evidence just says that this is the best way. It says that it's the best way to increase presumed consent without any actual empirical evidence supporting the claim. Then, off the third advantage, 1, this is a reason that presumed consent is bad. Xenotransplantation is for presumed consent as far as it assumes it takes dead animals, animals are deceased. When dead animals die, they are deceased, and we are presuming consent for their organs. That's xenotransplantation. It's a form of presumed consent. It means that that's a reason that presumed consent is bad. Against reason you would to get. He's just saying that one form of presumed consent is better than another form of presumed consent. That's not a reason why presumed consent is good overall. Then off of the impact, one, I would say that there's no probability calculus. He said that like you look at it around, it just says it might happen a lot. It doesn't actually quantify how likely it is to happen. And also I would say that no, don't let it go for extinction for me in the next speech. Every action has a risk of leading to extinction. So at the very least, I have a link to. Also, on the disease impact, one, empirically denied black pig, smallpox, and Spanish flu were all supposed to cause extinction, but they're still around. They can prove a unique breed. Also, humans will adapt to diseases. There's no extinction. Yellow was 95. As humans and new microorganisms, they interact, they quickly accommodate each other. Populations can build up a resistance. Once viral infections become attenuated, the more disease the community, the less destructive the epidemics become. Also, 3, lethal diseases will burn out. Leaderberg 99. Our microbial adversaries have a shared interest in survival. Any pathogen becomes too a dead end when we die. The severe host pathogenic interactions resulting in the wipeout of both. And 4, nanotechnology solves the impact. TRM 7. And that will impact the practice of medicine in many ways. The tools of medicine become cheaper and more powerful. Research and diagnosis will be far more efficient, allowing for rapid responses to new diseases. Also, solvency take out in the app. There's no solvency in order for organ theory to current individuals to be alive. Brain dead is not truly dead. Somerville 2003. Organs are harvested from patients with brain dead patients have their circulatory and respiratory systems still functioning. The fact that patients are dependent on machines with living is morally relevant to claiming them dead. Where many people obviously are machine dependent. The evidence indicates that brain dead individuals are actually buried alive. This is unreasonable to assume that organization is a good thing. The reasonable course of action is certainly not pursuing exactly acting to cure organs for the dead, especially while this is actually going to do anything.
Very good.
Yeah.
Alright, so in the last episode, what does that mean?
So Somerville just says that in order for organ procurement to occur, the individuals must be alive. But the only way that organs, when they're taken out, can actually be effective is if they're still alive when brain dead. Right.
Okay.
Brain dead is not good.
Okay, cool. So why do I not meet that? Why can't I just say that that's the kind of death that I'm getting?
Right. Brain dead is not death. Right.
So it has to be a live donor. Okay. So in order for them to be effective, it has to be a live donor that gives them.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So let's go to the NC. The NC is like it's just polls framework. Consensus leads to morality. Okay, so sure. So the consensus of the public is what's morally good. Right? That's the argument you're making. So whenever the public includes something that would be morally repugnant, why is that something that's morally good?
I would say that the way we frame morality is not something that is static, right? Like you can say that it's morally repugnant, but the way we understand morality is in relation to the people around us, right? Like what is popularly considered to be good is what I am saying is what is good.
How do we achieve a policy action based on polls if we don't we're presented? What do you vote for to decide public opinion if a policy action doesn't exist yet?
What do you mean?
So if you say popular consensus on a policy action has to be...
No, my argument is not that having a consensus is a prerequisite to developing any kind of potential policy actions. You can come up with whatever potential policy actions you want. You pass the ones that have popular support.
Okay,
right?
cool. Can I get the sample sizes for your
Right.
polls?
Okay, so Mashti, the 810 individuals.
Okay.
Then I can show you the specific sections of each population. That was included in one.
Yeah.
Okay. Then the Dennis et al. Evidence was 1,000 national adults for one of the polls. And for the other poll...
Can you get the exact conclusion, percentage based for both of them real quick?
Yeah, so Mashi et al. Was 94% of the population. Sorry. So 94% of the population heard of organ transplantation, but only 7% supported presumed consent.
Wait, so 94 heard of organ transplantation, 7 supported presumed consent. What does that mean?
It means only 7% of the people that were surveyed were supported.
Yeah, but if 94% of... Oh, okay, never mind. Okay, that's cool. Then the next one?
The Dennis et al. Evidence says that the NKF survey found support for presumed consent at 37%, and Gallup survey placed support at 7%.
Okay, so why is that a replicated poll? Why does that empirically verify that you produce the same results twice?
No, it shows that consistently people are against presumed consent. There's not
Sure,
a
it says
single
consistent
poll.
people are against presumed consent, but it doesn't have a... There are vast differences.
Not really. One of them is
97 or
7%.
7 versus 37.
The two of them are actually 7%, and one of them is 37%. Either way, I would say that it still consistently shows that people are against it.
Right.
There's not a single poll that says they have 4.
Alright, and then what was the implication of the Penner evidence at the bottom?
Yeah, the Penner evidence just says that presumed consent is unpopular even among organ donors.
Okay, cool. Then now the framework level on the AC. The first response you make is that it's unclear how we aggregate pain and pleasure. Why does polls solve that?
Right. So what is my pleasure is obviously going to be different from your pleasure, but polls allow us to determine what is good for us. Right.
Cool.
So we each have equal representation. We're each equally able to put forward what we want.
1:30. Well, I'm not reading anything new except for the policy. I'm not reading anything new except for the December policy. Yeah. It's like 3 sentences. Actually, I would say that everything I say is important. We're going to start on framework debate. Interaction between the NC, AC, probably float in the AC though. So float in the AC, then we're going to go NC, the NC substance level, and then AC substance. Hold on a second. Alright. We're good again. Okay. Alright. You can sense in Bob 3 that we can determine what's right and wrong by phenomenal perspection. We can do so for others. We can assume action makes us happy. Similar actions arouse similar feelings in everyone. That's consistent with phenomenal states. He can see the phenomenal states the way that we would frame ethical action. He doesn't make response to that. He just says to be hard to aggregate. But however, the sin of Bob 3 evidence is a direct response to that. These arguments are conceded. The sin of Bob 3 evidence is really important here. He concedes that this. He concedes the evidence. He makes responses to 1 and 4. However, the sin of Bob 3 evidence is a response to the arguments he makes against the other one. But what's more important is the Carr evidence. Carr controls the internal links to your firm, not the other way around. He also concedes the role of the judge recommended in each of the 3 implications. So first extent, Carr, these policies make it the only way to uphold democratic ideals, means control the internal link. His firm also do justice, sexuality, also insists marginalized group means that your role as judge not is to choose the best policy action. He solves for any other person. Also you vote me up unless they have a separate policy action, considering your role as judge to embrace a policy action debate. He had no separate policy action, independent reason to affirm. He shouldn't have conceded the role of ballot, or he should have read a counter plan. That was easy enough right there. But also there's weighing analysis here, like why you prefer the AC framework anyway. You're saying the C point on the framework debate, the third implication underneath the Carr, the C point said that you prefer framework contextualize why it's more educational. Actually, why the AC framework is more educational. Also what's important here is that it's a policy action. You have to vote for a policy action. He doesn't give you a policy action. That means that his framework goes away no matter what. But even if you don't buy that, the reason why presume consent of policy action is not even compared to the reason why a poll is good. Presume consent of policy action referencing the organ procurement institutional policy granting authority to help personnel to perform procedures on patients to remove organs from cadaveric transmission plus objection registered by the family members or by the patient prior to death. This means that the argument about like why the people want it or not isn't important. Also, because you're a policymaker, and the argument is that in order for us to have these like democratic notions anyway, we have to have a policy in the first place. So if you vote for a policy action, then like maybe later we can decide if the public likes it or not. But if the policy action solves the issues at hand, that's the independent reason why you could easily prefer the policy action over public opinion. Additionally, go to the NC framework. Reasons why you prefer it over public opinion. Because public opinion would always lead to something that's really bad. Like they always you can aggregate things to public opinion, like really bad things like Nazi Germany approved. They voted like the aggregate interest of the public voted for like the Holocaust. That's really bad. Also, there's like a lot of scenarios in which people like make bad decisions. Things like this are never accounted for. You just make argument in these polls about like there's a sample size, but we're gonna use that in a second. The sample size doesn't matter. But what matters is this: people make bad decisions. They're not rational agents. We have to look at utilitarian calculus. Additionally, you can't weigh any other impacts into this framework to be really skeptical of it. You can't weigh impacts under a polls framework. I would have to read a counter poll. There's no reason why you could possibly link offense back to this framework unless they could read a counter poll. He's going to read like a bunch of dumps on in the next speech anyway. That would be a waste of my time. I'm showing you why the util framework is how you evaluate the round. Plus, he's conceding your role of the judge argument, which means that means it excludes this framework anyway. But go to the offense, or go to like the offense on the NC, from the NC. He's making reasons by the way the poll, like he reads this poll. However, he's conceding spike the way he said they have multiple studies that include the same thing. One study includes 7%. He said it includes 7% twice. Another one includes 37%. You can be really skeptical of this here because I have 2 studies that include within a 5-point margin of each, 5-point percentage margin of each other. Solvency. Then you reason why you prefer the AC evidence. Why I solve this. This argument here is not going to be inclined to the spike. The spike indicates that you're going to have to look at the two of the same studies, 2 different studies include the same thing. He doesn't do that. There's no reason for the study. Go to the AC on substance. The first advantage. Start on the Bigel evidence. Extend Bigel is specific solvency for 1AC. This is a specific solvency act for 1AC that sought presumed consent increase. It is a 75% increase in order procurement. There's no answer to this. He's just making responses on the classism argument. I'm going to kick out of that. I'm going to kick out of the Zeno argument. I'm only going to the solvency. This is what are important. Either a point. I think the solvency. This is important because solving is saving people's lives. It means it links back to his firm. It's a first like prior option. In order for you to express your opinion, it saves people's lives. In order to express your opinion, you have to be alive in the first place. And organ transplantation saves lives. That's the argument being made in the first advantage. But additionally, it's also a reason why you prefer the 1AC. It's the reason why the policy action of the 1AC is better, and that's the argument that you need to vote on. It's easily breaks down. It doesn't provide a counter policy action. It concedes the role of the judge, which means you vote F anyway. But I'm showing you why this policy action is better, which is consistent with your role as a judge. You're taking out the circumstances.
Order is going to be and well, it'll be so on the issue top like the whole policy that we made. Then it will be the answer and then the issue. Yeah. Actually, just go answer. I don't know. So, he's dropping a solvency that's on that. He's getting up to it. He's dropping a lot of reasons as why my response is why policy doesn't actually matter. You don't need to adopt policy in order to be consistent with democratic procedural. Democratic reason why policy is important. He's also dropping, he's dropping why my framework is better, better means of achieving his framework, and also why I'm going to be better anyway. Extend the value, not just the value to all activity analysis, but both objective to things, existing and things, objective to basic, subject to my knowledge, subject to things, extending this cross-application to the top of the easy part of the objective to that tries to aggregate subject quality such as claiming pleasure, extend both consensus controls around, review, not to proceed, and the process of consensus is the only medium by which we can subjective to reality. Also, he drops this argument that the fact that he provided kind of justification for truth at all, the fact that he engaged in discourse, instead he's implicitly conceding my standard, the fact that he provides justification for truth implies that it is something that is in need of consensus to be met. Otherwise, we would have any kind of need to justify in the first place. You would need to convince people that it is true with logic, otherwise, unless consensus was necessary. So the fact that he engaged in discourse implies justification for truth implies that he's implicitly conceding my framework. So extended standard consistency probably consensus also said that his framework collapses back in my language. We can't understand what the greatest number of people is without knowing what the people want. For example, if everyone woke up one day and said that they wanted to die and they wanted like a lot of pain and some physical suffering to be upon them, then his framework of like helping people and like saving lives no longer makes sense. The only way we can determine what the majority wants and what is good for the majority is through polling the majority to put the opposite animosity psychology, because that polls show that 7%, only 7% of the population supports 2% and 90% population against 2%. It said Dennis Paul, which is another Republican polls show that population is against pursuing consent, one of which show that 7% is against pursuing consent. All of my studies show that everyone is against pursuing consent. So no response to against consent. He said that public opinion can lead to bad things like the Holocaust. I would say that any ethical framework can lead to bad things like the Holocaust. Literally, neutral cause is a justification for the Holocaust. It is trying to better the gene pool by getting rid of, like, disabled people. That was what the Holocaust was. Anything to justify bad things in the future, but I would say that, looking at democracy is probably a better way to prevent future, like, bad things from happening, because under democracy, like, historically, there's less human rights abuses just empirically when we look to, like democracies, because it's just, like, people are generally more humane. Also, he said that people make bad decisions, but that's just couldn't believe it's not a reason why, even if we make bad decisions, our perception of morality is so based on our own understanding of what morality is. Also, he said that the single side is actually claim. He said that people make bad decisions because they're not rational, but it's still how we understand morality. Secondly, humans aren't rational, there's no way for us to understand our own opinion, that his own framework of life is anyway. He said there's no way for us to be the way forward, but I said, you just read accountable and explain why his methodology for cutting the poll is better. He said that it would waste his time to be accountable because I would just respond, but yeah, I would respond, that's how debate is. I respond to your arguments, you respond to mine. Then he says that all my studies have to conclude the same way, and he said despite that the but all my studies do conclude the same way. Literally, 2 of my studies conclude the exact same percentage against workforce presumed consent, or against presumed consent at 7%. And even if that's not true, all my studies conclude that probably consent is against presumed consent, so it's still concluding the right way. So let's go to the AC. So start at the top of the ACT, drops why I achieve this framework better than he does. He extends instead about completely drops the argument that we can't aggregate subjective qualities on more consistent with the framework by allowing for everyone to have equal representation within a democratic procedural sphere by allowing them to input with their own understandings of pain and pleasure is by voting. Then he says that policy making is really important, but the only reason that it's important is because it's the best way to be consistent with democratic ideals. I would say that I am better appealing to that by like looking through better, literally through democratic procedurals. And then he says to vote him up because there's no competing policy option but one. That assumes that he's winning that having a policy option is important, but my framing means the demands of the theory spikes insofar as like I look to democratic proceduralism. Also, he said that he wouldn't extend anything out of a shell. When you see that is a concession that he made in cross-examination, this is literally a shell. It's just an insert that I had to have a policy, a violation that I didn't have a policy. It's a shell. He's disguising it, it's not a shell, but it's a shell. He said he wouldn't extend anything as a theory argument in the 1AR out of the AC. So I'll hold him to that. At the very least, you should check against it. Then he dropped a lot of reasons why we don't have to both place policymakers to be consistent with democratic ideals, which is why he says policymaking is important in the first place. So then he's saying that policymaking he says that policymaking is key to understanding the world around us, but I think better. Most of us will not become policymakers in the future, but all of us have to vote on policies. So that means that policy is a better framework for the ground because we understand how we relate to each other and how policy should be passed within democratic sphere. So that is literally a conceded argument, which is saying exactly why policymaking does not matter because most of us will not become policymakers, but every single one of us will have to vote eventually. So it's good to look to a framework that looks to democracy. There's no reason why we have to have policy. Also, he said that he wouldn't extend anything as a shell out of one AC. This is literally a shell. It's just an insert that says that has to have a policy. He's disguising it like it's not a shell, but it's just a shell. So let's go to the draw responses. Extended solvency takeout. That's a Somerville evidence. He does not respond to this. So the solvency evidence indicates that organ for organ procurement to occur, individuals must be alive. Brain dead is not truly dead. Organs are harvested from patients declared brain dead. They have their circulatory and respiratory systems still functioning. Means that they are still parts of their bodies that are still alive. Means that they are still alive overall. Means that even so, he's bound to defending that. Like he's going to take organs from people that are deceased, which means they're entirely dead, not just brain dead, but they need to be brain dead in order for their organs to work, in order for the transplants to work. So if he's taking them from entirely dead people, he's not actually going to be saving any lives with the transplants. It means that that's all the solvency on the app. You can just presume that even if you look at the easy brain. Also, extend a response to the body and tall evidence, which indicates that he's misrepresenting the conclusion of the article, which indicates that meta-analysis of 36 countries over 10 years should presume that has no positive impact on organ nationally, it's only rare exceptions. So the conclusion of the article concluded a different way than the way he represented the article. Also, the extended T-guard evidence is in response to the poverty. He kicks out his advantage, but there's no reason he can't kick out of the advantage as far as I have a turn on the advantage. So extended T-guard evidence, which indicates that selling illegal market is essential for those with poverty to combat their socioeconomic status, presuming extended exacerbates conditions of the poverty. Also, this that way because poverty is a cyclical impact that is constantly re-describing itself as far as getting people out of poverty by allowing them to actually increase their socioeconomic status. That is infinite impacts in the future because I'm preventing the entire cycle of poverty, whereas death is a one-time impact. But also, don't look to see, extend the argument that he doesn't actually explain that he's defending a just society. He never said the United States is a just society, so you can look to like theory arguments. You can extend the argument that if textuality matters, that means you drop him on topicality as far as he never actually explains why he's textually meaning the resolution. So, it's pretty easy. I better achieve the framework. He has no offense against him, at the very least we wrote on risk of offense. I responded to lots of policy making stuff, so don't let him go for that. It's also not a reason to drop me because that's a theory argument. Also, he drops solvency, take out the AC, at the very least, if you look to the AC, you can just presume that, and then he drops term in the AC. So, solvency, take out plus term, he's argument down.
136. Yeah.
Alright. This is a framework debate, starting the AC, split there. And then an overview. We're going to start with an overview, actually, framework debate. Just voting should be in. Alright, everyone good? He concedes that it's impossible to weigh offense under his standard. That is an argument in the last speech that you can't weigh offense under his standard. You just have to read counter polls. These aren't offense. This is things that link back to his standards. It's like not good. That's not a good debate. Also, he's conceding reasons why you have to have he's conceding a theoretical justification for the AC framework. There's also a reason why he has to prove why his standard is educational. He doesn't do either of those things. Also concedes why that's an important thing to do. That means he's losing the framework debate. He's losing 2 theoretical justifications for the AC. Also, the argument says that this is a theory argument. It's not a theory argument. It's a role of the judge argument. I don't know when role of the judge turned into theory, but it's definitely not that. So the reason you drop him is because he's not consistent with the role of the judge. That's a different argument than theory. There's no interpretation here. It's a specific job of the judge. It's educational for you to embrace a policy action. That's not theory. Now go to the framework level of debate. You're saying the car evidence again is the role of the judge argument. You embrace policy making debate means that this comes before his framework. It's the role of the judge. The only way you can evaluate around your role as a judge is how you sign your ballot. It means that this is the first argument around. You should have either A, find a counter role ballot, or B, find a counter plan. Both these things are impossible. He makes the argument that this is the way we create policies through popular consensus, problematic basis, and reasons why I'm controlling the interlink to democracy. The argument of Carr, if you look at the evidence, it specifically talks about how policy making is the way that we lead to a democratic increased democratic ideals. Look at the evidence after round 2 explained the last 2 speeches. This is really clearly the reason why I'm controlling the interlink of the framework debate. The Carr evidence is really specific here. Policy making comes first before democratic ideals are upheld. That's what the evidence says. Additionally, he's conceding theoretical warrants why my framework wins. It means that he's losing that. It's not a shell, just an argument why I win the framework debate. And he's conceding that means you evaluate into my framework. Also, go to the substance of the AC. The argument he's making, the term that he's going for in the AC, and also the solids to take out, both don't matter. First off, the term goes away because I'm not trying to solve for like the black markets anymore. I mean, it's not like an offensive term to the AC. Additionally, I kicked out of the advantage means I'm not trying to solve that anymore. Additionally, the argument he's making about the solvency takeout doesn't apply to the AC. I'm not trying to solve for the maximum amount of lives. I said in the last speech, I just tried to solve the organ shortage. I only went for that advantage. That's the only thing I'm going for. As long as I'm solving the organ shortage, then I mean, yeah, this really easily breaks down. I solved the organ shortages. He's conceding the warrants why I do that. The argument he's making isn't that I don't concede or isn't that I don't solve the organ shortage, that I don't solve people's lives. That's not the argument I'm going for. I'm going for I solve the organ shortage, I solve the Ebola evidence for 1AC. Additionally, the argument that he's conceding the Biggles 12 evidence that is a solvency advocate for 1AC. I kicked out of the Abby and Gay evidence because I'm not going for that. I'm going for a solvency advocate in the AC. He concedes that evidence. Biggles 12 evidence is 75% increase for donation rates and presumed consent, which means I solve the harm. So the way this breaks down is really clear. He's conceding a role of the judge argument. He doesn't provide a counter role of the judge, nor does he meet my role of the judge. He just tries to say that that's not the way we access education. Problematically, he's not extending justifications for why he has an educational standard, nor is he providing an obligation for you as a judge. I provide an obligation for you as a judge. It's a clear weighing mechanism. To write at the top of your ballot, the role of the judge is to embrace policy making debate. With that said, you sign the ballot for the affirmative because I'm the only one providing policy action. Even if you don't buy that, I'm winning the round on the fact that either A, I preclude the NC in order for us to have democratic ideals, you have to embrace policy in the first place. But additionally, I also know in solving the AC, I'm showing you that there's this unique advantage to affirming. There's no way to weigh impacts on the framework. To make that argument the last speech, and he conceded. He just goes to the argument about why it's not like morally repugnant. I'm just showing you that I'm the only one who can weigh impacts, and also means that I'm the one solving the harms as you affirm. Okay.